welcome to Motor India's Transformers. We are at Busworld Europe 2019 today at present, and we are at Cummins presentation stall at the Expo. Here with us is Mr. Brian Wilson, who is the General Manager for the Cummins Bus Division, and we are going to have a technical discussion perhaps on the Cummins presence here at Busworld, their technology and the other flagship products that they've displayed, and a few other discussions as well. Thank you. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Thanks for sparing us your time.
Sure, it's our pleasure.
So tell us about Cummins' presence here in the Busworld. This is one of the, in fact, perhaps the biggest expo for buses in the world.
Yeah.
And Cummins is the leading manufacturer and supplier of powertrains for buses.
Sure.
So how important is Cummins' presence here? Who are your major target customers here?
Sure. Yeah, as you know, this is the first year in Brussels, Belgium. The Global Bus Show sort of outgrew the previous location because of the popularity and the amount of folks that want to exhibit and come visit with Cummins and some of the other equipment manufacturers. So this is our first year here in Brussels, and so far it's turned out to be a really good decision, it seems like, for Busworld. And so today and this week, we're splitting our focus basically 50-50. So what you can see on one side of the booth is really the focus and our dedication to the diesel, clean diesel, and near zero natural gas business that we have, and we have had successfully for 50 or so years. On the other 50% of the booth, you'll see a focus on some of our newer product technologies, which we're showing a full battery electric vehicle, some of our first passive batteries, and some of our second generation batteries, which we'll be launching relatively soon in 2021. And so, you know, as Cummins plays in the bus market, we've committed ourselves to providing the right choice of powertrain type for our customers. And so we continue to invest in clean diesel and near zero natural gas. We are investing in battery electric vehicle. And then, of course, our recent announcement is the acquisition of a fuel cell company. And so Cummins will have all powertrain types available for our customers globally.
And considering that the new product is something on electric mobility, you can probably tell us about what sort of applications that this product is being designed for.
Sure.
Buses.
Well, you know, Cummins has basically we power all applications around the globe, but our first launch in the battery electric vehicle is focused on city buses. And the city bus duty cycle plays really well for electrification because they typically domiciles in the same place every single night, and there are fixed routes. And so whether you need to charge along the route or you need to charge every single evening, because there's consistency, it actually is an application that sets up really well for electrification. And so it is the first launch for Cummins commercially will be with city buses. Our first launch partner is a company called Gillick. Based in the United States, and you know, they have some prototype vehicles out now, but we are in full production, and Cummins battery powered vehicles, buses will be showing up in the market at the end of this year and starting in 2020, which we're really excited about.
So as far as your electric powertrain technologies are concerned, so the technologies behind battery packs and the traction motor, are they developed in-house at Cummins, or do you have any technical partners?
Yeah, so I think our first architecture included a lot of the key components from suppliers. As we progress forward with future architecture and future technology, I think a lot of those key components will move in-house to Cummins. The traction motor is one example. And so for our first architecture, we brought in a traction motor from outside, and we learned a lot about what makes a good traction motor. And so I think the next time that you see some investments in critical components and electrification, you'll see a traction motor that's been designed in-house by Cummins. And so we constantly and currently look at where it makes sense for Cummins to bring new designs into that architecture, and when it makes sense to do that, we'll bring it in-house. But there are a lot of great companies out there that are investing heavily also for some of these other key components. And so just as we do on the engine side, we'll continue to monitor and evaluate when it makes sense to move in-house versus to use outside suppliers.
Okay, so how confident are you in making commercial progress, kind of a business progress with the electric mobility technology that you have? Well, so do you have any roadmap plans for it? Like, do you have any targets for next 5 years?
Yeah, of course we do. We actually set up a fifth business unit for Cummins a few years ago called the Electrified Power Business Unit, because we realize the importance of this architecture and technology in the future. And so we have a lot of folks that are dedicated to making the right decisions for when we invest, how we invest, the types of technologies and which applications that we go after. And so, yeah, we do have a roadmap for which applications and when. I just can't speak about it because I focus on the bus segment, and so that's the only one that I really know about. But as we discussed, we are working on launching our second generation batteries, which are much smaller than the first generation. They can be fit underfloor, which many of our bus customers want. Yeah.
And across the globe, Cummins is the major kind of force to reckon with in terms of power and technology. So, which are the major markets that you cater, market regions perhaps, for buses across the world?
Yeah, so in 2018, Cummins had the highest market share of any engine provider into the bus market, any powertrain provider actually. And so we had about 22% market share, roughly 75,000 engines going into the bus market. About 50% of that is in North America. The other 50% resides mostly in China and in India. So I would say those are our two largest markets outside of the United States. That's not true, and then in Europe as well. So actually, it's probably split between Europe, China, and India. Yeah.
And since this transition from diesel technologies to powertrain, electromobility, I guess that's kind of an inevitable transition, right? So what is your take on that? Probably what will be the time duration that the industry will take to shift towards 100% electric?
It's a great question. It's a really complicated answer, and one that I can't answer. What I can say is, though, that the technology curve for battery electric has been really steep. So the systems that there were in the marketplace 10 years ago weren't nearly as advanced and durable and reliable as the product that are in the market today. And certainly the products that are going to be in the market 10 years from now are going to be much better than the products that we have today. And so there's been just a tremendous amount of learning and increase and improvement in that technology. And so, who knows how quickly it's going to continue to advance. But we also believe that regardless of the advancement of electrification, clean diesel and near zero natural gas is going to have its place in the bus market, right? If you just think about some of the coach applications or some of the mufsil or intercity stuff more in India where you're traveling longer distances, the range of battery electric probably is never going to be appropriate because it's going to take up too much space for passengers. And so we feel like diesel and clean natural gas are really going to have a long-term play in most of the areas around the world. China, as an example, 50% of their market is electrification, and that's their city bus market. But their coach market is almost 100% diesel and natural gas. And so there's a role to play for all of these technologies, and we think that they'll all be around for quite some time.
In India, so next year we are embracing Euro 6 equal Bharat standard 6 emission norms. So that's a great transition. That's a great progress in terms of diesel technologies. So now what is probably the next sort of transition in terms of diesel technologies for countries like India, developing markets where cost conscious riders still exist? So in that case, what sort of developments that Cummins engineering is for both in terms of lower emission, higher productivity, and lower total cost of ownership?
Yeah, one thing that's a real advantage for the Indian market is Cummins has been through Euro 6 standards now for over 10 years. And we've learned quite a bit. And we've improved our efficiency in combustion, and we've improved our efficiency with our after treatment. And it's allowed us to create the most simple architecture for the Indian market, which really means that the EGR is taken off the engine, exhaust gas recirculation. This is going to create a really durable and reliable product that's going to be able to last a really long time and serve the Indian market very, very well. You have to remember the Euro 6-like regulations. These are really clean diesel engines, and so you guys are really in a good place. You're going to have great technology. It's going to be very clean and helpful for the environment, and it's going to last a really long time and be highly reliable. And so, I think you guys are going to be in a good place with the emissions regulations as you launch them.
Okay, so we do wish for the sales of the cannabis, and probably to wind up. What are the other technologies or other segments of Cummins is working for in terms of like say diversification of its portfolio?
Sure, yeah. So we have, as we mentioned, we have clean diesel, we have near zero natural gas, we have electrification behind us, full electrification. We're also in hybrids all around the world, and then we've just invested in fuel cell. And so, those are the 5 technologies that we think are critical for the bus market. Again, Cummins is committed to providing the power of choice for our bus customers. And so if there is a new technology that becomes commercially viable for bus customers, Cummins will invest in it. Like, we're making that promise to the marketplace that we're going to help them be successful in their business. And so if those new technologies do exist, then we'll invest in them. But those are the 5 critical ones that we see for quite some time. And those are the areas where we're investing heavily to make sure that our customers can be successful.
All right, so thank you. Thanks for giving your time.
Sure.
Thank you.